Hello everyone, Colin Larkin here again, coming to you from Christ the King Parish in Topeka. Today is Monday of the 12th week in Ordinary Time. This is going to be a reflection on today's Gospel, which comes from the 7th chapter of Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "Stop judging that you may not be judged. For as you judge, so will you be judged, and the measure with which you measure will be measured out to you. Why do you notice the splinter in your brother's eye, but do not perceive the wooden beam in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, 'Let me remove that splinter from your eye,' while the wooden beam is in your eye? You hypocrite! Remove the wooden beam from your eye first, and then you will see clearly to remove the splinter from your brother's eye." So, this gospel is pretty tough. I know that there are a lot of people, myself included, who will feel very convicted by this gospel. And as I was praying through it, I just kind of came to that conclusion of it's just so tough because it just seems so natural and so easy to judge others. Some of us struggle with this more than others, but it's just so easy to see someone doing something wrong, kind of mess up, and just immediately judge them in our hearts. And so I just have a few points I would like to make this afternoon about such a thing. The first is that judging in itself is not inherently evil. So what I mean by that is judgment of the morality, the goodness of an action is not an evil thing to do. In fact, that is really what the Lord asks us to do. That's such an enormous part of the moral life. When we're deciding whether or not to do something, we're judging intellectually whether or not this is good or bad. And so in the same way, when we see someone else do something, we make a judgment just almost naturally, almost, involuntarily, whether or not that action is good or bad. And so we cannot then go on to say, because this person did that action, that person is good or bad. We must leave that judgment up to the Lord. That is clearly what the Lord says. Do not judge, or else you will be judged. We must have mercy on others. We must give them the benefit of the doubt, as it were, making plenty of excuses for them while not making very many excuses for ourselves. So on the other side of that, we also must avoid the mentality of, who am I to judge? Again, we naturally make judgments so often throughout the day, even a judgment such as, that tree is big. That's a judgment. And so we're not asked to go around and saying, oh, I shouldn't say anything about whether, I shouldn't judge whether or not that was good or bad. Well, you kind of already do that naturally. That's what the Lord asks us to do. He is truth himself. And if we let people go around just doing whatever they want and we sit idly by without proclaiming the truth, then we're failing them as our brothers and sisters. And so as with all virtues, we must find the median, between judging people's character, judging people's states of soul when they do such things. We also must avoiding all judgment whatsoever and letting everyone do whatever they want. But more importantly, what the Lord asks us to do today is to take that judgment and to turn it in on ourselves. We see with so many of the great saints in the church, as they progress in holiness, as they progress in sanctity, they become way more aware of their own sins and yet way less scandalized by them. The more we grow in holiness, the more we will understand how many times we sin every day, how weak we truly are. The book of Proverbs says that the just man falls 7 times a day. It is literally impossible in our fallen state to live a perfect life. And so again, as I've said before, we must just turn our eyes back to the Lord, ask for his mercy, and ask that we may have mercy on others. And so I just want to leave you with a prayer that I would suggest for you guys. If you struggle with judgment, I do. I found this prayer incredibly helpful. So when you see someone do something that's annoying, wrong, whatever it may be, just stop a moment, compose your mind, turn your eyes to the Lord and say, Lord, convert our hearts. Convert my heart that I might have mercy on this person. Convert their heart that they may truly begin to do better and to reform their life. Because without our own conversion, we can never seek to try to help anyone else in their other conversion. We must remove the beams that are in our own eyes before we seek to remove the splinter in others.